The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives. It's time for the Unex News. Extraterrestrials, time anomalies, dimensions, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, and USOs, ghostly encounters, abductions, Bigfoot, and more. Your end of the week news source for everything unexplained. Here is your host for the Unex News Podcast, Margie K.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Unex News. We are here every Friday, although I haven't been here for the last 3 weeks because I had that darn upper respiratory flu. Don't get it, okay? I'm just telling you, stay away from people and don't get it until it passes over. So anyway, I am back with a vengeance, and I do have a couple of things that I would like to mention before we really get going here with this great show I have for you today. Brand new book just was released today by Unex Media. It's Impact Special Edition by Dr. Gregory Rogers. And this is a fascinating work of fiction, but it has to do with, of course, the space shuttle disaster that occurred. And he was a flight surgeon with NASA, and it's a fascinating read. It's available at Amazon. And we have got also, I just wanted to mention, Unex is doing 4 conferences this year. They're mini cons, one-day conferences, doing one in spring, summer, fall, and winter, of course. So for the winter conference, that is UFOs, and Race Hobbs is handling that. Next up in March, I am doing, no, I'm sorry, that one is March. Next one after that in the spring is going to be Consciousness and Contact, and we have some great speakers lined up for you for all of these conferences, by the way. And then in August, cryptids of all types. Sasquatch, Dogman, Mothman, all your favorite cryptids are going to be in that one-day conference. And in the fall, well, you guessed it, paranormal, of course, with some top paranormal researchers and authors. I know you're going to love that. And I'm sorry, my voice is not 100% yet. We're just going to have to deal with it. My guest today is Tyler Kiwala. He's been on the show several times. Of course, he and his partner, Aaron, handle the Journey to Truth conference. And we have attended the Journey to Truth conference since pretty much since they started, anyway, in Illinois. And this year, he's doing it in a different place. They are going to Hawaii, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about his new documentary film that was just released about the secret space program. And my listeners know I am extremely interested in the secret space program for various reasons, because I had some strange involvement with that myself. But without further ado, Tyler Kiwala. Welcome, Tyler.
Hello, Margie. Good to be back. Good. I'm glad that you're back and you're feeling better. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. It's been a while since we talked. And of course, you are a very busy guy. You've had a lot going on. Let's just dig right into your latest documentary film. What is that about?
So this is a project that's been 3 years in the making. That's it right there. A Lifetime of Silence Behind the Green Door, a case for the secret space program. It's a subject that we're very passionate about. I know you're interested in it. Like you just said, there's so much out there. I would say misinformation and disinformation. A lot of people out there muddying the waters about what's happening with the secret space program. Some hit pieces. Anyway, it's kind of a mess out there. So we felt, we've interviewed all these people, and we've been filming this for a few years. We felt like we had a responsibility to throw our hat in the ring and take a stab at a documentary on the secret space program, which is turning out to be it's getting overwhelmingly positive reviews. People are saying it's the new gold standard for SSP films. It's a new benchmark, best documentary on the subject. Those are just the kind of comments that we are getting, the reviews that we're getting from it, and we're very grateful. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to build a case for the secret space program that can reach the skeptics and come at it from a very level-headed, reasonable perspective, not scare people off with some of the more crazy out there details. The film primarily focuses on the Earth-based side of the programs, the tracking and monitoring of children all the way through their, childhood all the way through early adulthood into the military. We highlight military whistleblowers, people that were recruited out of the military. And I know you fall into that category as well, Margie. So if we do a sequel, we might have to talk with you about that. But we wanted to basically focus on people that we knew had credible testimonies, had military credentials that people could go research, and Earth-based recruitment attempts, not just there's a lot of people out there that talk about the secret space program that weren't in the military, not saying that their testimonies aren't credible, but as we know, the mainstream skeptic out there, or just the everyday channel surfer, they tend to listen to and believe people with authority, like the white lab coat, the doctors, for some reason that's just programmed into us, and military whistleblowers fall under that category. So to me, if we get people that have actual verifiable military service, they served in the military, talking about this subject, I would say that the average person is more likely to take it a little more seriously coming from somebody like that, as opposed to just your everyday average Joe who might also be involved. But it's just a very strategic approach that we took. And it's an ambitious effort, and it's really impossible to cover in 2 hours, but we did. It's a 2-hour documentary. It flies by. That's been some of the feedback. It just it flies by. And right now it's only available on our Patreon, and we are in the submittal process of getting it onto the streaming platforms, which is very tedious. There's so many quality control requirements to get your film out there, like professionally. Yeah. We're learning the hard way, but it's the only way to learn. So we're working on that now. And if anyone is interested, they can go to our Patreon, which I can send you that link if you don't have it already, but Journey to Truth Patreon, and you can purchase the film to own over there, or wait for it to hit the streaming platforms. But I'll let you ask a follow-up question, because I could go on and on about this whole subject.
Well, it sounds fascinating. The subject is fascinating. I think everybody needs to know about it. So if there is anybody out there who has not heard of this, or they maybe have heard of it but don't know the details, this would be the place to go. And even though I have not seen this yet, I know Tyler, and I know he does really good documentary films, and I know this is going to be great. Who did you have appear in the documentary?
So as far as whistleblowers go, we have Tony Rodriguez, who has he's the only guy in the film that wasn't in the military, but his testimony stands alone because he has the most evidence. He has been able to go back and physically visit some of the places that he remembers being brought to in his 20-year tour. And not many people are able to do that. His memory recall is very good. And I actually went with him on location to Inyo Kern, California, where we did some snooping around on this military site and filmed a lot of it, which is in the film. And it's the bulk of the film, actually. And it's a very emotional segment, watching him go back to this place and remember what it was like, and have like those emotions come back for him. So that was one aspect. So Tony Rodriguez, then Daryl James, he was a Navy veteran. Nira Isley, Air Force veteran. Morgan Johnson, Army veteran. Mary Beaver, Army veteran. Patrick Riley, Army veteran. So a lot of people through the Army. And then Laura Eisenhower, who is the great granddaughter of Dwight D. Eisenhower, President Eisenhower, 34th president. And then we have Carrie Cassidy, who is the host of Project Camelot. She's kind of been a trailblazer for the SSP whistleblowers. She's been doing it for 20 years now. And then Dr. Michael Sala, he was the last interview that we got, and it was I think it was the cherry on top for the film. He's been heavily researching the subject for a number of years now, and having his stamp of approval on it really meant a lot to us. And he kind of helps dovetail and tie everything together in the film. Aaron and I make a small appearance, and then Derek DeStefan, his grandfather was part of Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project in 2001, if you remember that, when all those whistleblowers came out, and his grandfather was the only one to talk about very specific things, including the ACIO, which is the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization, or the Alien Contact Intelligence Organization, something that no one else would really talk about for almost 20 years later. He started maybe 15 years later. He talked about that in 2001, which is very interesting. Anyway, he has incredible testimony. He has passed away. He wrote a book in 2003 called Life with the Cosmos Clearance that basically just blows the whistle on the secret space program, and a number of other things that the military industrial complex and the government is involved in. And he passed away after he wrote that book, but his grandsons are still alive, and they have all his documents, military credentials, and his book, and just a ton of evidence, and they're kind of continuing his legacy. So we interviewed his grandson for the film, and the whole thing basically all put together just builds a case for the secret space program. And you know, some of the stuff is hard to believe, but there's no way to tell the story without telling the story. You know, you can, if you're looking for an introductory film to like UFOs and ufology, this isn't the film. This is a little more advanced, but that we decided to just go all in, and you know, it didn't matter really what people think at this point. I would say enough information has come forward, especially after the Age of Disclosure documentary, which I feel really set the stage for this documentary, because you had 34 officials, government and military officials, come forward in that documentary verifying the existence of extraterrestrials and reverse engineered craft. And among a few other things, as far as, you know, they even kind of got into time travel in a, you know, very small segment of that film, but they did the hard work for us. Now that, you know, the government has put their stamp of approval on that stuff, this documentary takes it a step further, and you hear from people who are actually involved, not people on the outside looking in. So it's different. It's unique. It's the first of its kind, and we're very excited for everyone to see it. And we can't wait for it to hit the streaming platforms and get and allow the world to see it and get some feedback.
You know, when people go down this rabbit hole and start coming forward, people who have had these experiences, they often become targeted individuals. And you and I have both had experiences with that. Did everybody involved in the film that you interviewed, were they also targeted individuals?
Yeah, I would say easily. Yes, in some capacity. Maybe not everyone, but definitely the people that were in the military that are really blowing the whistle on this stuff, sharing things that they're just simply not supposed to be sharing. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have issue with that. They're like, why are they allowed to say it without being killed? Well, you know, there's new ways to silence a whistleblower these days without killing them, and they become targeted individuals. They're targeted, and they try to either character assassinate them, destroy their credibility, destroy their livelihood, their families' lives. You know, that happens. And if you really get into each one of these individuals' testimonies, you can find evidence that each one of them, including myself, has been targeted, even during the making of this film. So we could do a whole episode on the strange things that happened during this film that I think were definitely trying to thwart the effort and silence the film. But they don't know me, or maybe they do, but that just actually motivates me even more if I know somebody doesn't want this information getting out there. So,
Yeah, and you've always said that as well.
right.
Can you share with us one or two things that occurred that would be along those lines?
Um, yes, I don't want to name people's names, because one thing I realize is we cover all kinds of stuff, but it's this subject in particular where we'll get the most pushback from people in the community. Some of them are bigger names out there in ufology. Um, in two occasions, we had people try to reach out and demand basically threats. I will say threats from people that we thought were friends, almost telling us to not do this film, and tried to almost in some cases threaten to take legal action, and they couldn't. They didn't have a case, so we had to approach this from a legal perspective, um, knowing that somebody could try to come after us just because they even though they think they can, but they really couldn't. They wouldn't have a case, and we had to do a lot of research and get some legal advice from some people along the way to make sure that we weren't overstepping any boundaries, even though some people thought we were. But I ultimately think, from the highest perspective, that it was just somebody out there didn't want this film to be made, and it would have a normal person may have been scared out of making the film entirely, so I don't want to deal with this stuff. And there's just been a number of hit pieces, just online stuff about Aaron and I, and some rumors that were started to destroy our credibility that aren't true at all. Heartbreaking stuff that people were believing to just to take away the credibility from us in general. So it was just a number of things like that. And then down to a personal level, some very, some targeting, some things that I just, maybe I can't prove that were trying to stop the film, but indirectly, I think things were happening in my life to distract me on big days whenever I had a lot to do, or something else would happen in my life that would pull my attention somewhere else. It was a battle. Like, the whole film was actually a battle. It wasn't like this fun project. It was fun because I'm passionate about it, but it was really a battle to get this film out there. And we're still struggling even with the quality control issues. It seems like there's just so much pushback, and it's like almost not normal, but we're getting there. So you're muted, by the way.
It's unreal what lengths some of these people will go to, and I think some of them might even be bots that
Right.
have an assignment. It's AI that's assigned, hey, you need to go attack this person. Because as of late, I've been getting some serious threats from individuals, which really I've never experienced that before. And, supposedly they're sending their real name. I don't know who they are, but yeah, even death threats.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think that it's set up by the military to discourage us from doing what we're doing and talking about these things like we are right now. But the public needs to know that it's real, and don't believe everything you see out there on social media about people like Tyler and Aaron, because it's probably BS. If it looks like it's not real, it's probably not real.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the people that know us know better. But if you don't know, then you're likely to believe something, because how would you know any different, if we're just like, if we're not involved in that person's life, So the people that know us, like, and we're fine with it because we know ourselves, we know we're in integrity. So the rumors are, some of them are just so false, they're hilarious, they make us laugh. But and if people choose to believe that, then that's on them. And there's been, I moved to Sedona, Arizona now, and it's a very interesting place out here. A whole episode can be done about, this is basically a retirement community for military veterans and intelligence agencies. And there are a lot of, I would say, CIA fronts out here. And I've done some research on this. And it seems to be the case. A lot of art galleries and other stores that are fronts for, the CIA.
Oh,
So
no
they're
kidding.
tracking and monitoring everybody out here. If you go into certain stores out here, they're almost overly curious in your life. They ask you a lot of questions and just all by design. But I did meet an individual out here that shared some very disturbing stuff with me about what they're doing and what they're capable of doing, not just here, but anywhere. And he said, no matter what you do, don't share this information on your podcast or with anybody. And I'm going to leave it at that. But if what he told me is true, then effectively anybody could be a targeted individual with no effort at all on the behalf of the party that's targeting you. It's very easy for them to do basically whatever they want.
Yeah, it's 1984, Big Brother all over the place.
Right.
Some of the things that I've heard about, and 1968, my father walked into a room that he wasn't supposed to be in, and it turns out it was a military operation, and they were spying on people through their televisions in 1968.
Right.
So what do they have now?
Basically anything that you can imagine, I would say.
Yeah. I've heard every television set, every mirror that you buy, and now windows as well. They have two-way cameras, and also anything that's got a mic on it can be reversed so that they can listen to you.
Right.
So there's a mic in the speaker.
You may remember there was a guy, his name was Tom Hastings. Maybe you don't, because this was Debbie Ziegelmeyer's MUFON, and I don't know if you were there. You only came to speak like once a year, but Tom Hastings, he's an ethical hacker, and what he does is companies hire him to hack their system, to find flaws in their system.
Right.
And that's what he does. And he spoke at MUFON years ago. I've tried to get him on the show since then, but he's kind of afraid to go into this subject now, and he won't do it publicly. But he also dove into his presentation. He talked a lot about the Gary McKinnon hack and all that stuff, which we actually cover in our film. But he told me privately, he said, the best security system that you can have nowadays is no security system, because what they do is they're able to hack any camera, especially any smart appliance, anything nowadays. The more tech you have, the easier it is for them. And he said they would test them, and one of his tests was just here's a home. They have these like mock-up homes that they have to try to hack. And this home had no security system, nothing for him to get into, but it had a smart fridge. And he was able to access a camera inside of the smart fridge that nobody knows is there. And then he was able to watch the people in the home, or just view inside of the home through the smart fridge very easily, he said. And he recommended to me, he's like, the best security system is beware of dog sign, basically. Like, just don't have that stuff up, because they can easily, I'm not telling people not to do that, because I understand Ring doorbells, it's all a thing now. But that's what he told me years ago. And I believe him that it's very easily to hack any of that stuff. And, it's just something to consider.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk more with Tyler Kiwala.
Behind every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of the human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit nxmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at amazon.com from nxmedia.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or amazon.com. 2026 is off to a great start, and it's almost time. With many exciting predictions and the recent emphasis on a potential major planetary event occurring in April, it promises to be a super transformational month, and we couldn't be more excited to be in Hawaii during this shift to integrate new frequencies. Folks, this will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. April the 20th through the 24th, 2026, join us in Kona, Hawaii for Journey to Truth's very first vacation conference retreat. Enjoy 9 presenters over 5 days with ocean adventures with dolphins and whales and sacred sites and so much more. Experience Hawaii like never before. You will enjoy 5 days on the Big Island, so don't wait. Start planning your trip today at journeytotruth.online. That's journeytotruth.online.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Margie Kay, and this is Unex News, and I'm speaking tonight with Tyler Kiwala. Tyler, tell us about your Hawaii Journey to Truth conference.
Yeah, that was an amazing promo commercial. Thank you for that, by the way. And, we've done 4 years in Grafton, Illinois. We started in 2022. We did 4 conferences there, all successful. And we love it. And we'll go back there one day and we'll do another event. But we wanted to keep the energy fresh for us and for our fans and just something different. So we decided to move to Hawaii. I went to an event in Hawaii in 2019, loved it, changed my life. I've been waiting for someone to do an event there since, and no one has. So I was like, you know what, why don't we do it? And I reached out to some people that I met in 2019, which is always a great thing to make connections at these events, because years later they might come into play. And luckily those connections stood, and those people were very excited that we reached out, and they helped us get the venue locked down and helped with a lot of logistics that we just simply can't do because we're here in the States. So, it's been a dual effort with some people that we know. And it's more of a boots on the ground type of, we're going to be half of the time in the venue, half of the time out Volcano National Park, sacred sites. We're going to be on the boat, snorkeling, swimming with dolphins and whales, all that stuff. It's a lot. It's a big effort on our part, but I'm excited to do it. It's a smaller event, about 100 people max, just because that's all the venue holds and that's all we can handle with the dolphin boats and stuff like that. More intimate than our last ones, but we're excited. And if people are interested, they can go to the website, journeytotruth.online, and we now have virtual passes available for the 9 presenters and opening and closing ceremonies. It's only $55 for a virtual pass. So if anybody wants to come and join the live stream, they can do that. And we're excited.
Well, that's awesome, because a lot of people can't cross over to Hawaii, and also you're limited on the number of people. So I think that's a great option, having the have it streaming live. That's probably what I will be doing.
Right.
Indeed. There is Hawaii is a special place. I've been there, and I've been to 3 islands there. And on all of them, it feels like there's this different energy going on. It's very positive and kind of light. Is that what you have experienced?
Yeah, when I was there in 2019, I kept telling myself, well, first of all, it doesn't even feel like you're in the United States. Like, to even say that it's part of the United States is odd, because it feels almost like you're on another planet. And everything just was so different and foreign, but familiar at the same time, because everyone speaks English. It was like traveling to another country, but it's Hawaii, and it was just so amazing to me. It was beautiful, And the frequencies, yeah, I felt like we were just almost in another reality, is what it felt like to me. And maybe it was the conference and the people that I was surrounded by. Nevertheless, I feel like we can recreate that, and I would love for everyone to come experience it, because it really did fundamentally change my life. And we made some connections at that event that really put us on our path as far as Journey to Truth goes. And I know people, every time that they go to these events, they meet people, make connections, and then that starts something in their lives. So, we're just continuing that. And it was the best time of my life. And I just want people to come and have the best time of their life. So.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I know a lot of people will go. We've got some comments in the chat here. I think some people are going to be checking that out right away. I assume Lily will be there.
Yep.
And Lily's going to be speaking at my Consciousness and Contact conference here coming up in the spring. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
She's great.
Mm-hmm.
And, and where you are in Sedona, there's also this high energy. There are some places there out at the Red Rocks where I've gone a couple of times, and I can't spend very long there at all, because I just physically start buzzing and feeling dizzy, and I have to get away and be on some solid ground for a while, and then maybe go back later. But that place, it also feels like gravity is a little bit different. What has your experience been?
Well, spot on. Everything you said is spot on. And it depends on where you go. There's higher vortex energies in certain locations than others. It's intense. I've talked to a few people out here now that say, the natives, they never lived in the Sedona vortex. If you look at all the runes and artifacts, they're all found on the outskirts of Sedona, almost like they were smart. They knew better than to reside and sleep in the vortex, because it's an intense energy to live in. So they lived on the outskirts, and then they came into the vortex for ceremony and gathering, and even astral travel or interdimensional travel, according to some of these legends, which, there are a lot of portals. There's Bradshaw Ranch out here, which is like Skinwalker Ranch kind of. It's just a paranormal hotspot. There's documentaries on Amazon Prime about it. I've been there a number of times. A number of wild stuff happens out there. It's not really, there's no brochure for the place. It's an old abandoned ranch. You have to basically go off-roading to get there. It's in the middle of nowhere. But it's a hot spot. And there's no question about that.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go here at any time of day, every day feels different. It's like the energy is just like this ebb and flow. It's always moving. Some days it's really intense. Some days it's lighter. As far as, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just something. There's a reason this place is what it is. And there's a reason there's a history here, and there's a reason people are drawn here, because I think there's potential out here for great spiritual growth, but there's also potential to have a bad time too, if you're not ready to deal with that type of stuff. And it could be hard on your physical body, your emotional body. Everything that you've been avoiding will come to the surface in these energies. It's like just brings everything up to be purged, and it's not for everybody. But if you're on that path, then come out here, because in fact, I feel like my journey has been accelerated living out here. It's like puts you on a fast track. Like you can go live over here and kind of do life at this pace, but then come out here and you're just on this roller coaster, and it's great in a lot of ways. It's also, it's intense, and there's so many things we can talk about as far as, what's happening here.
Well, it's a complicated place, like you mentioned, but you did tell me, you gave me a little teaser that you found your first Sasquatch footprint. So
I did. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want, I can share my screen really quick and show you.
I would love to see that.
Let me see if I can. Okay, share screen.
And where were you?
Right here in my neighborhood, at my
Oh,
house. Yeah, entire screen. Oh, you know what? It's saying I'll need to restart Chrome to share my screen.
oh, we can't have that.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just tell you about it. So Lily, as you know, she's in communication. She's with all sorts of beings all the time, and she's psychic, very similar to things that you do. She was we were sitting here one night, and she was starting to get a message from the Sasquatch, which, by the way, they're all around my home. And I can tell you stories. Even before I bought this place, they were like even guiding me to this home. And there were so many things, just synchronicities, Sasquatch related stuff when I moved in. They like this area, according to Lily and many other people. They really like this spot. So she was getting a message one night. They said that we have a gift for you, and they're going to leave us a footprint. They were going to have a print for us. That's cool. We assumed it was going to be at Jack's Canyon. It's a trail we like to hike, which is a hot spot. Like, you can definitely go have Sasquatch activity over there. That's just, I've seen them in my third eye. I mean, they're over there. I found a track over there too earlier on in the year. It wasn't as distinct, but absolutely a clear track, and I have a photo of that. So we thought it was going to be over there. 2 days later, I'm walking around my neighborhood, and in the middle of my neighborhood is this undeveloped area where the coyotes play, the deer play in there. I have video footage of both of them playing in this area. They just love it over there. And I'm walking, and I just look over off the road, and I'm like, there's no way. You know, it was just this big, a solo footprint, very large. I measured it, 16 inches long. And it had, like, you could see the mid-tarsal break. It was deep, like it was deeper in the front. It really was distinguished. And I put my foot next to it. I took a bunch of pictures, different angles. The sunlight was good, so you can see the shadow. And I'm like, man, this is like, I should cast this. I've never tried to cast one. So I ran to the hardware store. I got plaster of Paris. I read the instructions, mixed it up. I went over there and I poured it. And about 12 hours later, I came and dug it up. And it's just amazing. It's a 16-inch long cast, and it has a lot of detail to it. It was kind of in the mud, so like not everything is precisely, distinguished, but people who've looked at it, and even people who say that they're experts, say basically it's a 99% chance it's a real print, a real track. So I'm very proud of that. It's amazing, and I'm excited. We've kind of, when we go out, we're always trying to communicate with them. Just today, things happen, and I just wonder sometimes, and I know this is your world, right? I'm sitting right here where I'm at doing some work, and I have my front door open. It's nice. It's almost 70 degrees out here in Sedona. It's amazing. And sunny. Yeah, it's incredible. Like, we're the two states, us in California right now, that are actually warm. Yeah. But and I had the door open, and my screen door has a very distinct sound when you knock on it. And I'm sitting here, and I hear a knock, 2 loud knocks on my screen door. Undeniable. I mean, that's all it could have been. And I get up right away and almost jog to see who's at my front door, and nobody's there. And I literally could hear footsteps. Like, I heard somebody walking. So I went outside and thought, surely nobody's playing a prank on me. I don't know anybody out here really yet. And I'm walking around and I stopped hearing the footsteps. I don't see anybody. And I think immediately my mind was like, that was them. They're playing with me. They're toying with me, And I don't know. I can't prove that it was a Sasquatch, but it happened. I mean, it was loud enough to get me to go out there. And I swear I heard footsteps walking away. I was fully expecting to see an Amazon driver or somebody out there. Nothing anywhere. So that was interesting to me. And they're definitely around this. That wildlife use my yard to come through, the deer, the coyotes, the javelinas, they just travel through my yard daily. So the animals like it here. So it's an interesting spot.
Well, the animals are also attracted to high frequencies. So the energy of the area is good. But you mentioned earlier that the Sasquatch helped you find this location, maybe? How did that work?
Well, I came out here and I was staying somewhere temporarily while I was looking for a place. And I had looked at a number of places, and none of them felt right. Then this amazing deal pops up for a rental home. And Lily was like, let's go look at it. We should go look at it. I have a good feeling about this one. And I did too, actually. And I pulled into the driveway, and it was just like it was just like, this is it. There was no 2 questions about it. I didn't even need to see the inside. You just energetically, this was it. And I get out, or in the driveway, there's this branch from the tree above that was broken off from so high up in the tree that nothing could have broken it off. And it was a green branch. It was not dead. And it was clearly broken off and just placed in the driveway. And immediately I thought, man, that Sasquatch did that. And so I'm like, that's a good sign. Then we go to the front door and we're just looking at it. We haven't even talked to the rental owner or the property manager or whatever. And I go to the front door and there's a big black feather just laying in front of the door, just perfectly laying on the doorstep, just this black feather. And I'm like, that's a sign. And I'm looking around the yard. And I'm just like, man, this place has just got an energy I love about it. And there's a perfectly made up little pile of pine cones set in the yard that I just don't think any person did. I don't know why they would have done that. It just seemed to me like, again, you can't prove this stuff, but it seemed to me like that was them. They were just like leaving a little gift. Anyway, they were kind of just telling me like, yes, this is the place, and that was actually my main deciding factor, that I had all those Sasquatch, what I call synchronicities, when we went and looked at it the first time. Everything flowed so smoothly. I called the rental company within the same day. I put money down and got it. They took it off the market. The whole thing worked so effortlessly. And now we've been having activities surrounding this area. And I think they just like that we're here,
That is awesome. That Sasquatch encounters. Sasquatch are kind of sneaky, but I think they do things in a manner so that you'll get used to them and you'll gradually have more encounters and closer encounters. They don't seem to have the intention of scaring people to death or just being the first time you see them, they're right in your face. They don't do that.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, that's what my experience has been.
Yeah. And exactly. And I think at least if it's a benevolent being and not some scary cryptid or something,
Right.
So I think that, I was laying in bed one night and I wasn't even close to falling asleep. I just closed my eyes and I just started seeing a clear vision of Jack's Canyon where we like to hike. And I know the terrain, and there's like trees and there's a lot of cattle roam there too. And I saw all these cattle and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing Jack's Canyon. And then I see a Sasquatch in my third eye, but I'm looking, it's like I'm watching this movie. And I see it like walking, from tree to tree and like just kind of peeking out. And I see the cattle there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to explain to Lily what I'm seeing. And I'm like, this is Jack's Canyon. They're telling me that they're at Jack's Canyon. So we went out there and the first time that we've ever seen all the cattle, it was my exact image. Everything was exactly the way I saw it, except I didn't see the Sasquatch, but I know they're out there. And I'm so convinced at this point that I'm just like waiting any day now to see a physical one walk by at some point on one of our walks.
Yeah.
I just think that like the series of events that have been happening, I think that they're priming me for an encounter. And maybe not, I would love for that to happen. I'm not giving all my energy to that. Just whatever they decide is, whatever they're okay with, I'm okay with,
Where you've held your conference in Grafton is a big UFOs too, but also Bigfoot
right.
hotspot. And a lot of, even some other shows have been out there. BFRO has been there. And every time I've gone, I've had some kind of an encounter. Well, at the last event, they showed up only for a few people. It was very, very late at night. There were just a few of us out. And I just suddenly got the message that they were there. So I stood up and looked around, and I looked in the direction I felt to look, and here this Sasquatch appeared, but he was transparent. He did not fully materialize into 3D. He stayed in 4 or 5D, but you could see the outline very, very clearly. And several people saw it as well. And then several more appeared in like a half circle around us. And they stayed away. They were at a distance, maybe 50 feet, maybe 50 feet away, 30 feet at the closest. But it was clear they weren't there to scare us off.
Right.
They were just kind of letting us know that they were there. And I think that's awesome. Now, are there some bad ones out there? Probably. But in my experiences, I haven't had any negative experiences with them.
Right. And I think, there's a lot, one time Lily and I, we just wanted to get on YouTube and just see if we could find some good Sasquatch stories while we were on this road trip. Just, people tell stories of encounters. And for whatever reason, like everyone we found was some fear mongering threat, scary thing. And we're like, this isn't at all what we're looking for, but it seems so that is still happening and that is out there for some reason. In fact, I don't even know if it's necessarily scary, but I think people are scared of the unknown. So if they don't know what it is, they can turn it into a scary story really easily, even though they might not have intended to harm them at all. So it just depends on your perspective and where you're at, I think, too.
Well, on a different subject, 2026 seems to be the year of disclosure. A lot of us are getting that message. What do you think about that?
I think absolutely. I think we're already seeing signs of it everywhere. Like I said earlier, that Age of Disclosure film, I think that was strategically timed to set the stage for 2026. As far as secret space program, UFO related alien stuff goes, just disclosure in that aspect. And then, our film is just, we've been trying to get it out for years, and it seems like it was all divinely timed to get it out. And when that gets out, who knows, where that'll go. But I think that'll play a role in priming the collective that there's something more. And then we have that Steven Spielberg disclosure movie, Disclosure Day, coming out in June something, 8th or something like that. And they're talking about like full disclosure happening in that movie. And now there's this like running bet online, like for the Vegas bets, I forget the website, that, Donald Trump is going to make this UFO disclosure speech. And there's like a 99% chance that it's going to happen. Like the odds are totally in his favor. Like if you're a betting person in Vegas, it's like a no-brainer bet to put money on that he's going to be the one to tell us. And now there's this filmmaker that came forward and he's like leaking this information saying that this disclosure speech is going to happen on, I think, June 8th or 9th, like right around the time all this other stuff. It's like right before the Steven Spielberg movie is when they're like betting on Trump to come out and give this speech. Not that disclosure has to come from him, but it seems to be the theme this year. Like everyone is getting information, all the psychics, the channelers, they're tapping into stuff. There's weird, crazy stuff happening with the financial markets that are kind of pointing to some sort of a reset, that are really exposing some of the corruption. There's just a number of things on the table. April, there's predictions about April being this big month. I've talked to people that claim that there's going to be a massive flood in April. Somebody told us that we weren't even going to have our conference in Hawaii because all Hawaii is going to be underwater in April. I'm like, okay, well, thank you. We'll see. But there's this Chris Bledsoe who wrote this book called UFO God, or something like that. And in the book, he's talking about being visited by this Egyptian goddess and basically saying that the second coming of Christ is going to happen in April around Easter. Interesting. Just take note of that. Then you have Stuart Swerdlow, who is a government informant. Everybody knows this. He's involved with the Russian KGB. He gets briefed from 3 different countries on a weekly basis, and he goes online and shares all his briefings. Makes a lot of accurate predictions that come true. But in my opinion, there's also some misinformation in there too. I don't trust people like that always, but he's made a number of predictions that have come true. Like when the government shut down, he came out weeks before and said the exact day it was going to open back up, and it did. And he's like, this isn't a prediction. This is what they're telling me, but it's a prediction to some people. He predicted a couple months ago that silver would hit $120 in January. Just 2 days ago, it hit $120 at the very end of January. Just things like that. He's also claiming that in April, he said there's going to be a major event and that the government, military, whoever, deep state, they have this is coming from him, not from me. So don't shoot the messenger. He said they're going to try to fake the second coming of Jesus in April with a blue beam hologram type of a technology. Blue beam Jesus, they call it. And there's Zaysan, who spoke at our conference. He's a Plagerian contactee. He was telling me months ago in September that his Plejarian contacts are very excited about April because they don't see a second coming. They don't see any of this other stuff. They just see this like massive, basically weight being lifted off the planet. There's going to be like this shift in consciousness and energy, like this transition. I asked them to explain it to me. They said, if you're not really paying attention, you may not notice it, but the people who are in tune are going to notice that something changed in April on this planet. And they're not going to be able to put their finger on it. But the way he says it, it's like there's all these chains holding us down. And these chains are just going to be broken free in April energetically. And it's going to allow for this essentially a quantum leap on this planet as far as technology goes, disclosure. Like we're just going to start seeing things rapidly happen as if they're not already happening fast now. It's going to be accelerated, almost like I liken it to Roswell. After Roswell, there was this leap in technology after, they reverse engineered that stuff. It seems right now I follow all the aerospace industries on X and all the militaries and everybody. Every day they're rolling out these new technologies and these craft, and they're just silently doing it on X. And if you're not paying attention, you're not going to know about it because no one's reporting on the news. But it's next level insane technology that we see in sci-fi movies. They're just coming out and saying, yeah, we have this. Matter of factly, we have direct energy weapons. We have this hologram technology. We're using this new advanced unmanned fighter jet that can, whatever, all this crazy stuff that wasn't supposed to exist is all just starting to quietly trickle out right now. It's all setting the stage for, I just think it's going to be like a tidal wave of disclosure in this year. I mean, it's already happening, and it's going to be chaos. It's like systematic chaos. I think that we've been suppressed and held down and held back for so long. It's not going to look pretty. There's no easy way to do it. A lot of the systems are going to collapse. The governments are going to just, no one's going to know what to believe or trust. It's going to be so chaotic. I don't think people are going to be able to keep up with it. But I'm excited because I think this is what we came here for, like this transition, so we can break free from that old paradigm that's been, keeping everything in the shadows. And now we're going to start to see these breakthroughs in technology, potential real ET disclosure. I mean, who knows, even first contact type of situations. Maybe we're not quite there yet, but I think we're on our way. And 2026 is going to set the stage for a much brighter future if you know what to look for. And it can be scary because, like I said, it seems very chaotic, and it is, but it's basically, I think everything is aligning for our highest good at the end of the day.
Why do you think the major media outlets refuse to cover things like this, refuse to cover UFO sightings, credible sightings, and more?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's on some level, there is still I'll just say some dark players are still pulling some strings, and it seems to be the media mouthpiece is one of their last effective weapons at manipulating the masses. And I think that's one they're really fighting to hold on to. And a lot of people know that they're just not reporting accurately on the truth. And in fact, they don't cover hardly any of this stuff that we talk about. And whenever you have all the major networks saying the same thing, it's not them talking. Okay, now who's really talking? Who's giving them those 4 a.m. talking points? Right. So there's still somebody masterminding that whole thing. And in my opinion, I don't know when that will change and when we'll start to see honest, accurate reporting of just on anything in general, not even to make it political or about UFOs, just everyday stuff. It just seems like, I used to live with my aunt and uncle for a short period of time in my life, and they had the news on every day, and I would just hear it in the background, and it just seemed like you only hearing about these shootings and all the dark stuff, like just this nothing positive. I'm like, man, what does that do to your psyche, to the subconscious mind, just every day being bombarded with this negative news? That's by design. If they can keep us in those lower fear frequencies, then they can control us. So I think we're going to see that start to be dismantled, especially whatever wave of energy is coming through in April or being released in April. If that's true, I would say that we just expect to see some changes.
All right. How can people watch your documentary?
They can go to our Patreon, which if you go to our website, journeytotruth.online, there's links to take you straight to the documentary. That's probably the easiest way for if anyone doesn't follow us anywhere else, they can go journeytotruth.online. You can click a link to our Patreon. We have a link directly to the documentary. Is everything that we do is on the website, so you should easily be able to find it there. But if you're just on Patreon, just look us up on there and you can find it. So you don't have to be actually a member to purchase a Patreon member to purchase a film. You can just buy it as an outright product, and you don't even have to sign up for the membership if you don't want to. So don't feel obligated to do that. And it should be on its way to the streaming platforms once it gets through quality control. If we can get over that hurdle, then expect that. And hopefully they give us a 2 to 12 week window for that streaming platform thing. So it's a very broad window of when that could actually hit the streaming platforms. But we're hoping that it can be expedited and it's sooner than later.
And your conference, how can people sign up for that? And how many seats do you have left?
Same thing. The website, you can type in Journey to Truth Conference on Google. It should bring up our website, but you can go to our website, journeytotruth.online. There are 18 spots, in-person spots left, and they're going to go. We believe it'll probably sell out. So if you are serious about going, I would snag your spot now because those could go pretty quick. And yeah, and if you can't make it, like I said, virtual passes are available on the website as well for $55, which is a great value. And we just love to see you there, and we're really, really looking forward to it.
Okay, well, congratulations on the documentary, and good luck with the conference. And thank you for being on the show tonight, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Anytime.
All right, we'll see you again soon. Everybody, I'll be here next week with another great show. And see you then.